Okay, we're still looking at dividing polynomials. This is problem number 2. This time we're going to be dividing by a binomial, and I'm going to show you the long division process. Long division is just like you remember when you were a kid, you did those really big numbers and you had to do long division. The exact same process. So I've written here on my whiteboard, and I am going to go ahead and start. So the first thing I'm going to ask myself, I have d here, and I have 3d squared. And I want to say, what can I multiply d by to get 3d squared? Well, the answer would be 3d. So 3d times d gives me 3d squared. And notice I put the 3d over the same place value. That's the same thing that you would do when you're doing long division. So now I'm going to take this 3d and I'm going to multiply it by d. And I get 3d squared. That's what I wanted to get. And then I do also here, 3 times 9 gives me 9d. Okay? And so just like with long division, now I'm going to subtract. So here, this is going to change to a minus. And this is also going to change to a minus. And so the first term, we already know it's going to cross out. We designed it that way. The second one, when I get negative 4d and negative 9d, I get negative 13d. And I'm just going to bring down this plus 13. Now I want to ask myself, what can I multiply d by to get negative 13d? I'm sure you all know. Negative 13. So again, negative 13 times d is negative 13d. That's what we wanted. And negative 13 times 3 is negative 39. So again, I'm going to go through and I'm going to subtract. So this becomes positive and that becomes positive. And I know that I'm doing it right because my first terms are always going to cancel out. I want it to cancel out. That's how I designed it. And so when I add this, I get 42. So 42 is my remainder because there's no number that I can multiply d by to get just plain old 42. So my final answer would be 3d minus 13 plus 42 over d plus 3. So let's see if they got the same thing. 52. I am so sorry. Yep, I'm sorry. I forgot to add the extra 1. Please, please, please forgive me. I make mistakes. Going too fast. Okay, so I get 52 is my remainder. So when I add 13 and 39, I get 52, not 42. Okay, so there's my final answer. So let's do another one. All right, so we have n plus 1 divided by 2m squared minus m minus 3. Okay. So first thing I want to ask myself, what can I multiply m by to get 2m squared? What am I going to multiply m by to get 2m squared? And the answer would be 2m. So 2m times m gives me 2m squared. And 2m times 1 gives me 2m. I'm going to subtract now, just like I would do a long division. Those cross out. I'm left with minus 3m minus 3. Then I ask myself, what can I multiply m by to get negative 3m? Well, that would be minus 3. Minus 3 times m gives me minus 3m. And minus 3 times 1 gives me minus 3. So again, I'm going to subtract so that my signs change. And everything crosses out, so there's no remainder. So my answer is 2m minus 3. I hope this helps.